Hello and welcome, everybody. Tis I, Sylvia, coming to you live from beautiful Eastbourne by the Sea with a very special guest and a very special topic today. Good morning, Alex Kent.
Good morning, Sylvia. How lovely it is to be here with you.
This is very, very good and very kind of you. You've just recovering from your epic 26-mile walk, right?
27 miles, yes. I'm feeling a bit broken, but not so broken I can't be here with us all today. So happy days.
Oh, that's fantastic. Awesome. So Alex Kent is the author of an awesome book called The Energy of Attraction. And perhaps this is about romance and dating and modern energy work in relationships, and also in, attracting new relationships and doing all sorts of things with relationships. So this is the first really long book you've written. And you must have been very inspired and enthusiastic to be embarking on such a grand thing. Tell us a little bit about what gave you the idea to write this book and take us back to how it all began.
I've had lots of really nice energy experiences with modern energy and relationships and dating, and it struck me how the world exists with romance being at the top of everyone's agendas, right? Yet actually to look at it from an energy point of view was fascinating. It takes people watching to the next level when you kind of start appreciating those energy streams and how people connect and the energy between people. And yeah, I found it absolutely fascinating. I couldn't stop writing that book until it was finished. It was a very, very nice few months in my life where I guess I kept thinking about more and more things to add here, there, and move that around. And yeah, what you can do with modern energy and relationships, with dating, with meeting people, with maintaining your existing relationships to making fabulous new ones. Yeah, I think modern energy is just the key tool that just makes things so much easier and fun, should we say, sparkly.
Oh,
Can't
wonderful.
get sparkly without energy.
No, yeah, and there's this this really interesting thing. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna bring up our little friends on the screen. So just bear with me for a moment here. There we go. The energy men's have arrived. Look, and you're a plus 10.
Where's that energy men's? Oh, there we go. There's there he is.
Yeah, so in modern energy we have this energy chart, and on the negative side you have no energy or little energy or low energy, like a bank balance, and on the plus side you have more energy. And then when you get to the plus, then you have so much more eventually that you can give energy to other people. And so basically what you got is two halves of a story. And when people are in negative energy states, then other people don't find them attractive. They find them draining. They find them exhausting, because the people in the negative energy states are obviously trying to slurp in people's energy, and it's exhausting, isn't it? And so this is also for sales. If you're trying to sell people something when you're in a negative energy state, even the dogs in the street will run away. It's just totally unattractive, basically. And when you get the same person, this is, it's not a different person with different genetics, different traumas, different histories. It's the same person. You raise them up on the modern energy chart, and all of a sudden they become more attractive to other people. So that's sort of the basic principle in case somebody has strayed into our conversation here who has no idea that this is all about energy and raising energy, really, before and by raising our energy, we become more attractive. And so Alex has really looked into this and done lots of experiments and things. And so I would just love to hear, tell us about it. Tell us about your experiences and perhaps give us some tips.
Well, I think what you're saying there about when you're below zero on an energy chart, you are sucking energy out of other people. Like you feel like you need other people to make your life better. That's a classic thing. You know, you need that extra special person to make your life nice. No, that's not how it works. You need your life to be good before another and enticing for another person to want to join that with you. And yeah, I've seen friends and family and people on all sides of that scale, and it's fascinating to watch as the energy improves, how much more attractive they become. And of course, I've had that experience as well, like when I was doing those tapping demonstrations at the Mind Body Spirit Festival in London, and I had a really this lady come up to me. I couldn't tell how old she was. She just had this kind of wrinkled, like almost like battle hardened face. Like it was like 3 o'clock on Sunday at the Mind Body Spirit Festival. So everyone's energy was a bit low, but her energy it was almost you could see that shield that she was building up around herself because she couldn't deal with that space, that incoming energy. And we just did some basic tapping, on some positives. And all of a sudden, her wrinkles started to relax. Her skin started to smooth out. Her growl started to become into a big beaming smile. And all of a sudden, there was this beautiful woman, like in her early 40s, just standing straight in front of me. And I looked around. I thought for a moment there that someone had played a switch on me, like the difference between how she was before a bit of energy tapping and how she was after a bit of energy tapping was like night and day.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a really, that's actually a really interesting thing because I had a similar experience as a hypnotherapist. I got a client who I thought was really, really ugly. And I'm sorry to say, they're really ugly, just like you're saying, the grooves in the face and this really sort of grim feeling about them. And so I put them on the couch and put them in a trance. And as they started to relax and then relax deeply, their skin just smoothed out. And I had this beautiful person lying on the couch. I was completely blown away by that. I'd never seen anything like that before. That, that wow. So the energy has a direct effect on your physical looks as well, which seems absolutely crazy, doesn't it?
It does,
It's
yeah.
not going to make me any slimmer than I am, or it might not make you any taller, but there's definitely something about these higher energy states that we really do start to glow and, de-wrinkle and just,
And our attention starts shifting from inside ourselves. Like, oh my goodness, what do they think of me? Oh my goodness, do they like my hair? Do they, oh dear, I was rushed this morning getting ready and this didn't happen. And, my routine was messed up. And that just goes completely out the window. When people improve their energy levels, their actually attention goes outwards and they can
yes,
see, they start observing more in the world. They can see the patterns in other people. They can
yeah.
experience the joys of actually being a human being in this physical world of ours, just experiencing life. And yeah, exactly. And that is attractive.
Mm,
Of course, something I found fascinating is that often we kind of so the most important person on the planet is yourself, right? People spend all their the majority of people spend all their days, like from waking hours, thinking about what other people think about them, and
Yeah.
the interaction they last had, the smile they had with someone. People are so intent on thinking about how they exist in the world, and everyone's thinking that. So if everyone's thinking about themselves, but they're presuming that other people are thinking about them as intently as they are themselves, and there's this complete imbalance, which I find fascinating, actually, when you start giving people that extra energy, when you start raising your energy, you start to be able to give that extra energy, and you
Yes.
can start offer things like, good effort, you've made a good effort today. Well done, well done. Like, I like your style, or giving a compliment, like, yeah,
That's the
like
more
your
you
energy.
have, the more you have to give.
Mm,
And really, a compliment or saying something nice to a person, paying attention to them. That's so super important, because paying attention is this gift, this love gift that you're giving to somebody when you actually pay attention to them. And I did a whole video on this. If you haven't seen it, please watch that. If you watch nothing else, this is so, so important. And yeah, that when you have that energy and you're no longer stuck inside yourself and going, oh dear, I wonder what they're thinking of me. And instead you're going, I wonder what I'm thinking about that person. And I'm looking at that person and I'm saying, oh, I wonder what's attractive about them for me. And then I can comment on that. You have such a lovely smile. I love that jumper.
yeah.
You have got something to give. You have your attention to give. And because people are so desperately hungry for that,
Mm, yeah,
it,
of course.
they're,
The
they're going
important
to
thing
be
is,
grateful.
all compliments should be genuine.
Yes.
If
Well,
if you can't think of anything good to say about a person, and you really can't,
well,
then
come on. With the high energy states, it is much, much, much
of
easier
course you
to
see more
see.
detail. You
Yeah,
see
you
more
see
detail.
the colors are brighter. When you're in higher energy states, you see more. You also sense more, and you could possibly sense that behind the facade of an angry person, there's something else, and you can address that something else instead.
Of
You
course.
know, it's you're more intuitive as well in the higher energy
Mm,
states. You are much better likely to make, if you're making a so-called guess, that you get it spot on.
mm,
I remember saying to a person, complete stranger, you look like an artist to me. And their nearest damn it burst into tears, because they'd always wanted to be an artist, but it just never happened in their lives.
mm,
And but that was what came into my mind. And I do think when we exchange energy, or start to read energy,
mm.
that we can get this sense of there's an artist hiding behind that facade, or perhaps there's somebody who likes to sing, or somebody who loves nature or animals, and that is also a side effect of being energy higher. Ha.
I agree. I agree. You do get to see more, and
Mm.
I think as well as the compliment, I think you're also talking there about making statements about people, and that's something you can do with absolute strangers. When you asking a question from someone is taking some information from them. It's and people that have just met you just on the street, they don't owe you anything. However, when you make a statement about someone, such as you look like an artist,
Mm.
you're offering them a perspective on themselves that they may have had before, they may have not had before. The important thing is that you felt confident in yourself to make that statement. And
Yes.
the truth is, even if you're completely right, like for example, you look like an airline pilot, even if you're completely wrong, say for example, or completely right, it doesn't make any difference.
No.
And
I think what he said next was something like, but I do like watching Westerns. I said, that's where I got that intuition from then.
yeah, yeah.
And the
So
conversation was started. It was lovely.
it's a good pattern for starting a conversation with someone
Mm.
that you've just met. You go for a compliment, you make an assumption,
Yeah.
you make a statement about them, And some people, if they're just completely like, my goodness, someone's talking to me, I can't handle this, all this incoming energy. Then what you can just do is an ad, rather say for example, you look like a cowboy, and they're just standing there going, I don't know what to say, I'm so stressed. You can just add, am I right, to the end of that statement. You look like a cowboy. Wait for them to come back. If they don't, am I right?
No.
At which point they're like, no. But no, it's fascinating as well. When you first meet someone and they don't know you anything, you've stopped them to talk to them, you stop them, give them a compliment, you've given them opinion, you've got them saying something back in return. It's interesting to make that you can explain your assumption. Oh, the cowboy thing was just because you have that particular energy, or the hat reminded me a bit of a cowboy's hat, for example. But of course, the moment in the interaction, what you're looking for, right, is when they start asking you questions, and they're actually getting information about you to help them understand you better, which is quite fascinating. So there comes a point in interaction with someone new is the person that starts the interaction has to do all the work. They've got to lead the conversation. They've got to allow that space, create the group bubble. I think for you, create the group bubble. And then the key part is when they start saying, things. Oh, what are you doing in town, or what you doing, what's going on, kind of thing. Or
why are you here?
More about you. Yes, exactly.
What's a nice boy like you doing in a place like this?
Exactly. And at that point, it becomes more 50-50 in the interaction, right? But what's fascinating is with a compliment. I've noticed this a lot. Is when you first start talking to someone new, and 10 minutes later you ask them, what was the first things you guys said to each other? What was the compliment? What were the first few words? Hardly anyone can remember that, right? Because essentially it's just noise that goes back in between two people while the energy systems are basically feeling each other out and figuring, okay, what is this? Is this romantic? Is this person trying to sell me something? Is it a physical threat? How am I feeling about this interaction? So in fact, the first, minute of a conversation is very difficult to remember because our energy systems are somewhere else. They are making those snap feelings for us about, yes, they're intertwining in some way.
Yes, they are.
So a lot of people think, oh, I don't know what to say. Well, I don't know what to say is the first thing, right? What's the opening statement? What do I say?
This is the words, isn't it? They're getting hung up on the words when it really is all about energy. And one of the things, again, if your energy high, words just flow from you. And sometimes these words sound very strange, but I'm glad you said that it didn't matter because people don't remember anyway. But again, this is the thing. If somebody's saying, right, I wouldn't know what to say to a person to talk to them. I wouldn't know what to say. This is simply an indication that they need to raise some energy. They need to, and the energy raising makes them more confident. It makes them more intelligent, more aware, and you don't have the problem of not knowing what to say in a high energy state. Not knowing what to say is not a problem, it's a symptom.
Agreed. Yeah.
As is shaking hands or sweating or being afraid or stomach churning or
exactly
stuttering.
It is exactly that, a low energy statement, because we're very much programmed to not put ourselves into stressful, dangerous situations, or and so our brains can generate hundreds of thousands of good logical reasons for not talking to someone new, right?
Yes.
For example, maybe they don't like people like me.
Oh yeah.
That's one.
People like that never like people like me.
Yes, exactly. Or for example, maybe someone will overhear me talking to this person, and that would be so shameful.
Oh yeah.
Maybe this person I'm talking to is going to activate some kind of rape alarm, at which point thousands of security will usher forth wrestle me to the ground and carry me out like I'm doing like I'm crowd surfing.
Well, all of
You
these, all of
know.
these are they're just symptoms. They're not problems in and of themselves. You can't tap that away. Like if
Yeah.
somebody says, like, my terror is that people will attack me if I try to date a beautiful girl or speak to
Mhm,
one.
mhm,
You can tap on that until the cows come home. It isn't because it isn't. It's not the cause. It's just a symptom. It'll come back as soon as you get stressed again.
mm, yeah.
It'll come back and back and back, and you can tap for 100 years, and it's not going to get you anywhere. It's got to be that basic higher energy state before you approach the person.
Yeah.
And something that I would really like to stress very loudly and clearly here: the energy of attraction is not just about romance and dating for youngsters. It isn't at all about love, finding love. What it is about is how to interact with people all the time, anywhere, any kind of person. Whether you're interacting with a little child or an old lady or a policeman that wants to arrest you, or a shop assistant that could help you, or a person on the phone in a call center who can put you in hell with one tap of the wrong button. They have such power. Do they know this? I don't know. But being high energy in interactions with other people and making that a goal and understanding that you're practicing when you talk to the old lady at the checkout. You are practicing when you're talking to the person who's next to you in the plane. This is human skill, way beyond just finding lots of sex partners whenever you want.
I was going to add that. I was going to add that as well. I was going to say that when you've got the most perfect person standing standing a few meters away from you, and you know what you should be doing, you should be talking to them, you should be introducing yourself to them. But that's not where the whole thing starts. The thing starts in the morning when you've got up in the morning and you've walked in a park and said hello to 10 people walking through the park. You've said good morning to your postman. You've bought a
Yes.
coffee from someone. You've had a little chat about the weather. It's that level of interaction you have throughout the day, social interactions.
Yes.
Like probably like for example, just anything social. It can be with your friends, can be I know a lot of people do things like, I don't know, team sports or activity classes where you have that kind of bonding experience of being human being in a group of other human beings.
Mm.
And by the time, if you treat it like that and you treat it as just like talking to a new person as just being another part
Yeah.
of your day, um, it is fascinating. And I was listening to you just talk now, and it reminded me of something that I think is equally very important, because in our day-to-day lives, we often find these absolutely amazing people that kind of float in, float out, these wonderful people that we want to put in instantly on a pedestal. That one person that would make my life amazing, you know. And yet, when we realize when we're on the modern energy chart, actually to be attractive to one person, you have to be attractive to every person, right?
Yeah.
Is is the way to get the one is to be attractive to the many.
Yes.
Um, that's a fascinating thing as well. I often when we get our infatuations and we have our crushes, and again, that's not a young person thing at all. That's a people thing.
It's a people thing.
It's a people thing,
Yes.
and it's difficult to say. This one person, like this one most beautiful person in your life, is that being in a relationship with them or dating them would
Yeah,
be
that's
the
the
best
end
thing
of
in the world.
days. It's the end of days.
Yes, that's it.
That's
That's
when
that classic day.
the happily ever after starts.
Yes, yes,
That's
of
the moment,
course.
and then you'll live happily ever after. And that's just sadly so untrue.
Mhm.
And oh man, I've ah I have known this for such a long time that people, you can flirt with anyone. That light-hearted, happy, flirty energy. I can have that with a female friend. I can have that with an old man, with a young man.
Mm,
It's lovely, and it's completely also. Um, it's not sexual gender based or
mm.
gender preference based. I can have that with a gay person or a straight person or a transsexual person or a person, a human being.
Yes, it's human
That's the
specific.
key. So for me, the end outcome of the energy of attraction is not finding your soulmate and that's it. You hop off into the happily ever after. But
Kill
it's
me
to
now, my life is done.
but it's to be a person that actually loves other people,
Mm,
loves them,
yeah,
is fascinated by them,
sees them, sees them.
sees them,
Yeah,
appreciates them for the energy that they can give to you with a smile or a nod or,
yeah,
it's quite wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
mm. Yeah. I agree. I agree, and it's and that thing, isn't it? It's that being attractive to the many is how you get to be attractive to the one. And actually, it makes sense. Like logically, it makes sense, and there's a key difference in energy interactions, really, isn't it? It's
Yes.
not about like you if you go online and look in the completely the wrong places, you can get text messages that have got proven success rates, right? And first openers statements for online dating, and this is what you say for this, and this is a series of jokes that you can do, and
Mhm.
all that goes completely out the window.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, I'd definitely advise against online dating as well while we're there. Real life
There's
dating is much more fun.
yeah, there's also, I mean, something that we're doing at the moment is the Community Energies program. And a part of that absolutely consists out of going out and shaking hands.
Mm,
In networking meetings, in talking to people in all contexts about what you're doing, your business, who you are, what you're offering. This is one of the big sort of super stumbling blocks for so many people. How do I sell myself? And that again, it just goes out the window when you just take care of your own energy states. And it's just so beautiful. It's such a wonderful thing. And yeah, oh, couldn't agree more if I had two heads.
So, what
Yeah.
what energy raising what would you think is a good way to start your day with energy raising?
Well, one of my favorite things, my favorite thing is to actually step outside or open a window and to greet the day in the morning. Just greeting the day, looking up at the clouds, taking in the weather, taking in whatever it is, and quite unconditionally, and just greeting that day. And uh, this is this is no different in a way than to greet a person or the postman, to just recognize it's there. Hello, I want to interact with you. I am not going to judge you for being sunny or rainy or cold or windy or whatever at all, because you're a unique day that's never been. And so here I am, and hello, day. That's
It's interesting, isn't it? And you could also look at look at the day and think, so day, what people am I going to meet in the next 24 hours since we're here for the next time? What new star moments have I had? Where's my next star memory going to be?
oh
Um,
yes.
what can you offer me today, Day?
There is a song from an old song from black and white movies, and the man is singing, "Somebody loves me. I wonder who." And when I heard that first, that made me laugh. And I went to parties and pubs and things, and I just played that in my head. Was somebody loves me in this room? I wonder who it is. Is it you? Or is it you? Oh wow, it's everybody.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
such a much different way of looking at the world when you work with energy, isn't it? It's
Mm,
magical. We just have to find a way to get this out to more people.
mm, yeah.
What's your best tip for when you're somewhere out and about and wherever this may be? and you felt you're losing energy, and or somebody's rejected you and now you're feeling a bit down, what's your best tip for raising yourself up quickly in the field?
I do enjoy energy tapping a lot, even if it's just like the finger points. You know, I've seen on Formula One racing drivers do this because obviously they're so hemmed into their cars and they've got their helmets on. They can only just tap the side of their fingers, and I found that really fascinating as just a way of anchoring, letting the energy flow more, and anchoring as well to remembering to breathe.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
good.
it's fascinating. I had an interesting experience yesterday with I went for this long walk, and it took us by some very tall cliffs. And my friend was having massive vertigo, panicking,
Ah,
and he was just
good.
like going. He was getting scared. He was um, just wanting to stay away from it. He was panicking when he saw someone with their dog like 10 meters away from a cliff edge. Oh, he was yeah, it was terrified. And I just said, I got a bit bored with this after about an hour. I said, "Oh, just tap the side of your fingernails and take a deep breath." And he looked and said, "I suppose that cliff is quite a small cliff, but if it was a bigger cliff, that would be absolutely terrifying." Fascinating. Also, why tapping really suffers, doesn't it? Because people do it and then they don't attribute the benefits back to what they've just previously done. The apex effect, I believe it's called, right?
Well, that's the
But
problem. That's the problem with tapping. If there's no framework of reference,
mm,
then people can't do anything with it, and it just gets stored in some place where their brain doesn't exist.
mm,
And modern energy has done that. It's built a structure that explains really, how modern energy tapping works. And
mm.
so we don't get apex effect. We're just enjoying it. We think it's brilliant. Something that I used to do when I was still going out, which I haven't for many years now. I live in a capsule and a float above in a space station around the Earth. I do, or so it feels, or so it seems. Yeah, something that I used to do is I used to have a little sort of a rhyme. Now raise your crown of lights, expand your glorious wings. You own both day and night, and do such splendid things. And I just
Beautiful.
run that through my head, and I just go, "Ooh, yes, I remember now. I remember now that I own both day and night, and I do such splendid things."
Mm,
And that used to, you know, ha,
yeah.
yes, just saying it now made me quite. It was really fun though to, and I really recommend this, no matter how experienced you are or otherwise. Um, be sure to have a bunch of go-to techniques that really work for you, that you can use in the field, and imagine terrible situations you might be in, hanging off the edge of a cliff or something.
Mm,
Um, really do think of, find what works for you, what really works for you. I mean, tapping works for almost everybody apart from the people who just hate it. And this I also unconditionally accept, that there's methods that I just won't touch with a barge pole, no matter how many people tell me it's wonderful and I should be doing it. I just
mm,
no, don't want to. So, find some techniques. I found recently this thing with this spiral in the hand
mm,
and paying attention to that sensation. Really useful. I had the tooth operation thing,
mm,
and to get my attention away from the pain and onto something else, did that. And I found that really helpful. There's a nice little anchor,
mm.
you
Yeah.
know. Other
Like
one wants to tap on the side.
if it's gone really bad, then one of my go-to rescue remedies is just splashing cold water in the face, and just you get that sense of just coolness, calmness. Just the stress of the day just washes away. There we go. That's a mantra and a half, isn't it? A rhyming mantra.
Go and say it again.
The stress of the day just washes away. It's
Yes.
fascinating when we talk about rejection. And I think you just touched on the reasons why our energy states would go down. Um, Rejection's a funny term, really, because obviously to try and talk to a person is better than not talking to them at all, right? So, and it's just the idea of rejection. It's not it's not as clear cut as that. Like you could say mission fail is a rejection, so therefore you didn't get that person's phone number. Rejection could be. Or what you could do is you could find that person is just about to fly off to Hawaii tomorrow and get married, and they're absolutely loved up to the eyeballs. And actually, fair play. You can have a nice chat with them about their wedding plans and how
Mm.
excited they are and their honeymoon, and you get to have this completely 100% deep connection with a beautiful stranger, and you still can walk away feeling like that. Was that a rejection?
No.
It could be said it was, but I wouldn't treat that as a loss. I would treat that as a win. You've done well. You've done the best you could. Because we got to remember, not all games are winnable,
Mm.
right? We don't know going into something how the cards are stacked up, but that's the process, right? We find out. We find out more information. Um, we can switch tack. We can play it to the best. And I think as long as you have done your best in an interaction, you can be. I think every interaction is positive. That would be my take on it. So I wouldn't
Yeah, it's
quite
a
go down the rejection route.
it's a learning experience, isn't it? And at the end of the day, and this is interesting, and some people might shout narcissistic thinking here, but at the end of the day, it's not about the other person, it's about you. It's about you, how you and me, I'm using the English inclusive you. It is about how that we learn something about energy exchanges, that we learn how we work in the energy exchange when we connect with another person, what that feels like, what that gives us. If somebody rejects us and just goes, "Go away, you crazy person. I hate you. Be gone." How we work with that. It's a learning to me, it's a learning process because we didn't know about this energy stuff all these years ago. And there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn.
Mm,
And it's endlessly fascinating. And I love the fact that with the energy of attraction, yes, it's about romance and finding the one, you know, fair
or the
enough.
many,
So, find lots of people looking for their soulmates. So, finding your soulmate, your current soulmate, if you
your
will.
soulmates.
Yeah, why not? Should be many soulmates. Yeah, finding your soulmates, but it really isn't about that. It isn't about that. It is about our relationships with people, all kinds of different people. Like all people are vitamins. And just eating vitamin D and loads of it is not going to make you a healthy person. You also need all the others and the trace elements. That's what makes you a healthy person. And for me, love, romance, attraction is only part of this much bigger package. And we need lots of different people, different kinds, old, young, to interact with, to smile at, to become a fully rounded human being. And when we do, you never know. They might be fighting in the aisles to be your soulmate.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wonderful. So yeah, great. I think that was lovely. I couldn't recommend getting into the energy of attraction more highly. It is safe. It is really good for your mental and emotional wellness. It takes you out of this whole thing. Oh, I will never find love because I'm too fat or too old or too thin or too short or any of this nonsense. Because love isn't about outward appearances, it's about energy. It's about when it clicks between two people and there is this spark, this excitement. And as you said, Alex, this happens no matter how old you are. And there's nothing more beautiful, more enlivening, more healthy.
Mm.
to bring a smile back to our faces. And
Yeah, our first systems for dealing with this romantic energy is very core to us, right? It's it.
yeah,
The essence of a person is to make these connections.
yes. And the more energy we feed through it, the stronger and more powerful as persons we become. And that's yeah, then we experience a different level of happiness that is much more grounded and in more sort of people than just the one.
Mm.
That's a good thing, I think. Okay, yeah. Everybody, buy the book, Energy of Attraction. I have put a link in the description under the video. It's available from all good bookshops, online and off. And you will be glad you had it and you'll be glad you've read it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to thank you very much for your time this morning, especially after your epic adventure yesterday. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. And of course, if you have any questions at all on the topic, Alex is always going to be happy to answer.
Oh,
So I'm going to thank you very much for having been here with us this morning. Big love to Marianne and Dita and Ilko, the German squad. Thank you so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it. And thank you also for listening to us if you are coming to watch the replay. We're delighted and we look forward to seeing you for next week's Sunday Live with Sylvia. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from
goodbye
Alex.
from me.
Lots of love, blessings. Have a good week and play with the energy of attraction. Talk to at least 10 more people than you otherwise would have. And you'll thank us forever, right?
Exactly.
Bye for now.